Hey, Steve.
Yes.
Do you ever take these out of the packaging and play with them?
Give me that.
You don't take it out of the packaging.
I mean, I wouldn't say it in that tone, but you're right. That is how I would put it.
Sell it for $60.
It's not about selling it, it's about to keep taking a hanging on the wall! I'm trying to lure these guys into being in the whole video, and they don't want it.
Well, Iggy's down here, though. Iggy!
Victory puppies! Hi! Leafs Nation, stand witness frogs and locusts! Full biblical! Austin Matthews is a Leaf! Why do I watch hockey stressfully? Mostly. Are you in? Seriously though, Leafs 6-0 win. Matthews coming back with a vengeance?
It's pretty sweet.
I don't know what else to say.
My favorite part was that second goal when he kind of skated away like nothing happened, but then he kind of smiled like
he knew.
There's a dog here.
That's fair. That is fair.
Pretty cute.
It's a dog. Alright, I think that's enough. Can you guys get out of my head?
Are you gonna play with your dolls?
They're fake! Leafs win 6-0 over the Montreal Canadiens. Alright, who feels kind of bad? Me neither! Alright, seriously, Montreal Canadiens fans, I want to have a talk with you in an extended If I Were You segment, but first let's talk about the game. Now, would you believe me if I told you there were no goals in this game until the second period? The first half of this hockey game had 0 goals. Boy, that escalated quickly. Montreal opens the game shelling the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they had 7 shots on goal or something like that before the Leafs even had 1. The final shots in the first period were 16-7 for the Montreal Canadiens. Do not let this huge victory cloud over the fact that the Leafs really have trouble opening hockey games. Starting on time, as Mike Babcock would put it. The difference is Freddie was not just on time, but he was early. But after that 7 or 8 shots to nothing shellacking at the beginning of the first period, it was actually very even, and I thought the Leafs controlled the play for the second half of the first. Freddie still had to come up big, but they made Charlie Lindgren work too. We head into the first intermission in preparation for Coach's Corner on Hockey Night in Canada, and the Leafs may be a little fortunate to have a score of 0-0. Let's skip ahead to the first goal because this was the first sign of trouble for Montreal. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. Moore gives the puck to Bozak. Bozak charges into the Habs zone, slams on the brakes, and turns the other way. Pretty standard. Habs defender lets him off the hook way too easy, and he's free to just make a clean pass to Ron Hainsey. Takes a shot, and he beats Lindgren! His first as a Leaf! Puts the Leafs up 1-0. Look, Ron Hainsey was the alleged Matt Hunwick replacement on the Leafs. I wasn't always the kindest to Matt Hunwick in his Leafs tenure. So far, and I know he's an older player making $3 million bucks a year, but wow, 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 is he worth every single penny. That goal was Ron Hainsey's 10th point of the season already. He only had 3 assists in 16 regular season games with the Penguins last season, and 17 points overall between the Penguins and Hurricanes combined. The last time Hainsey had over 20 points is when he got 26 points in the 09-10 season with the Atlanta Thrashers, and he's on pace to do it in a walk. And to add to that, he's been a big part of Morgan Rielly improving on a bit of a down season last year to just looking like a star this year. Hopefully I remember to put the link down below, but Andrew Berkshire wrote an excellent article on Morgan Rielly and his season so far. It was actually inspired by a conversation that was had on the podcast. You got to check it out. It's fascinating. So alright, Montreal kicked the Leafs up and down the ice for part of this game. They're just down. It's a little snafu, right? They're gonna get it back. Nope. Freddie Anderson to Patrick Marleau in his own zone. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Marleau just bounces a puck off the Kadri. He's just chilling there, rushing into the zone. By the way, the Leafs only scored like 30 seconds ago. Oh, that sound is nice. Oh, that shot was nasty. And nice and nasty Nazem makes it 2-0 Leafs with his 10th of the season. This was nice Nazem. We'll get to nasty Nazem later. Freddie Anderson with an assist on that one, which means that over the past 2 games, Freddie Anderson has scored more than the opposition has. He's a little hot. But again, the Habs are only down 2-0. They still got the entire third period to go. The Leafs have been known to choke on a lead or two. They can get back into it. Habs fans know that I know my losing symptoms, and oh, this game was bad. We're only 20 seconds into the third period. Connor Brown taking the face-off. Zach Hyman comes out with the puck, sends it to Nikita Zaitsev. It's a point. He puts it on. Connor Brown cleans up the mess. 3-0 Leafs, just like that. And again, just sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. Hyman is just allowed to breeze to the front of the net. No one's even got Brown, and that's why he was open for the rebound. The Habs defenders just go, oh no, danger! And before I could even get to the 4th goal, how could I forget nasty Nazem? The Habs are having a rough season. They're down 3-0 and they're a little grumpy. Max Pacioretty buries Nazem Kadri against the boards. Checking from behind, I don't know. Boarding, yeah, that should have been called. Come on. I'm not saying kick him out of the game, but that's 2. Now, nothing happens. The refs don't call anything, and the Leafs don't retaliate, which I thought was interesting. But, Naz gets up and right away. I don't know if you want to discourage this sort of thing with Naz because you need him to play with fire, but the second Naz got up, I'm like, oh, he's about to do something regrettable. Gets up, and as he said after the game, there's just steam coming out of his ears. Who's it gonna be? Oh, here it comes. The guy he decided to go after was Shea Weber. Gloves fly like the friggin' Tasmanian devil. Glove tornado! Montreal reporter Arpin Basu tweeted that Nazem Kadri should be sending Jordy Ben a Christmas card this year. Not a lot of people seem to get that, and let me clarify. What he meant is, thank goodness Jordy Ben jumped in because Shea Weber was about to kill him. We can joke about the trade and we can laugh about the contract, but at the end of the day, Shea Weber is still exactly what Mike Babcock describes him as, a man mountain. And you won't like him when he's a fist mountain. And here's the beauty of Nazem Kadri. Somehow, the Leafs come out of that with a power play. Because we don't make mistakes, only happy headshots. Now, Naz might be lucky that he didn't connect with Weber's head because it kind of looked like that's what he was trying to do. I am very surprised that that is all that came of that incident. A 2-minute penalty to Kadri, 4 minutes to Weber, and somehow nobody seems actually hurt. I don't think the league is going to look at Pacioretty's thing. If anything, they might look at Naz. Look, I love Nazem Kadri. You need him to play with that fire. That's when he's best. Remember the goal that got the Leafs back into Game 3 against the Washington Capitals. That's the kind of Nazem Kadri we need. But it was a little concerning to me that the second that hit happened and he thankfully got up, I was like, oh, it's about to go down. He's got a case of the red mist, man, and it didn't bite the Leafs here, but there's going to be a situation where you never know, he might take a penalty that costs his team. Then again, it is Bob Ross. Back to goals. Fourth goal, another example of puck watching. To his credit, Dominic Moore creating havoc behind the net, comes out with the puck and gets it to Tyler Bozak. Olsner finds himself in front with Moore and JVR to contend with. Who do you think they're passing to? And he puts it in. JVR's 10th of the season. This, by the way, is why you don't sit on a lead. Fifth goal, now stop me if you heard this before. Matt Martin behind the back through the legs to Mitch Marner. Marner backhand to Matthews, goal. That's an unexpected new take on the Mar line, but I like it. I mean, I've been wanting to see this for a while. The raw playmaking skill and creativity of Mitch Marner paired with the unbelievable goal-scoring skill of Austin Matthews. And then because the game is getting out of hand, you complement their skills with Matt Martin, who will take off his skate and punch it through your forehead if you come within 5 feet of them. I wonder if they're gonna give Austin and Marner another chance to play together. Because maybe it was just Austin being excited to be back in the lineup, which I can't believe I haven't even mentioned, but for a 5-0 goal in the third period, Matthews and Marner were both very act like you've been there before, boys. Well, surprisingly, they haven't been. Check out this from reporter Chris Johnson. The Leafs' 5th goal was Austin Matthews from Mitch Marner and Matt Martin. First time Matthews and Marner have ever connected on a goal. Now, I don't know if he means like they've ever been involved in the same goal. Like that, surely they've both like assisted on a power play goal or something, right? But Marner to Austin, I guess it's never happened. I mean, last year Marner and Matthews both played with basically the same line mates all season. Now, I do remember them looking dangerous together as Babcock, whatever the Leafs were down, he would put together this release the Kraken line where he put Matthews and Marner together. But I don't know if they ever connected. I mean, I trust Chris. I guess they didn't. Man, so rare that it's only happened once and it'll probably never happen again. Until with less than 5 minutes left, Marner just hands the puck to Austin Matthews and lets him do the rest. Ha-cha-cha-cha! Auntie Niemi, who gets a new team every 3 weeks, like, alright, Auntie, you won the cup once. Matthews shoots, scores! Alright, well, when I won the cup, Matthews wasn't in the NHL, so what are you gonna do? It's 12th of the season, 2nd of the game, he's back! And the Leafs are up 6-0. All right, now, Mike, this game is getting a little crazy. How about you never play Austin for the rest of the game? Sure enough, there's like less than a minute to go, and he's out there. I'm like, Mike! There was the Pacioretty, Kadri, Weber, Ben thing, and then Carrick and Gallagher started getting into it. Get him off! Oh, right, Matt Martin punched skate through forehead. I forgot. And with that, the score resembled the Leafs' record over the last 6 games, 6-0. Montreal completely giving up in this one, getting outshot 13-7 in the third period of a game they were losing. There was one particular play where the Habs had a power play where the guys just sauntered off the ice for a line change like they were checked out. So extended Habs fans, if I were you, I'd be terrified. Look, this team doesn't know what it's doing, and I'm not talking about Claude Julien. I'm not even talking about Marc Bergevin. I'm talking all the way up at the top, man. Because the panel on Hockey Night in Canada, when they were discussing it, Kyprios, Johnston, Friedman, they all seem pretty unanimous. Something needs to happen. Something needs to change. There's going to be a rebuild in Montreal of some sort. But they made that enormous Subban-Weber trade. Weber's 32 now. You just got Drouin, and it's not like he's old or anything, but you got rid of Sergachev to do it, and Sergachev is a player you could use badly. I guess the reason I put this on ownership more than I put it on Bergevin, if you're gonna rebuild, if you're the Montreal Canadiens, you very obviously can't let Bergevin do it. Look, the way the Leafs did the rebuild, which isn't the way everyone has to do the rebuild, okay? I'm not suggesting Montreal has to do this, but what they did was they burnt it to ash. gosh, the guys who created the mess were not the guys who were brought in to fix it. What would I do to fix what I did? It's very rare you get to watch a GM clean up their own mess. Sometimes you'll get a situation where an owner directly meddles with a GM and goes, no, okay, we need to win now, and then they give them permission to rebuild. That I kind of get, but this is nuts. And with the deal you just signed Price to that hasn't even kicked in yet, and actually, why am I even talking about Price? He's the least of their issues. You barely have any centers except the young half winger that you got to play center. No one can score goals. They got no defenseman who can move. What are you supposed to do? This is an incomplete rickety shack of a hockey team that seemed pretty confident that they would be good again this season, and unless things turn around quickly, it sure seems like they're not. How the team lets the guy currently in charge fix that himself? I don't know. So if you were me, I'd want Mark Bergevin to continue to be the Habs GM because I'm a Leafs fan. Now, if I were you Habs fans, all I know is first, you've got to get mad. I don't want you to protest, I don't want you to riot, I don't want you to write to Jeff Molson because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about Plekanec or Alzner or Markov being in Russia or Antoniemi being claimed off waivers. All I know is that first, you've got to say, I am a Habs fan, gosh darn it, my life has value. So, I want you all to get up now. I want all of you to get out of your chairs. I want you to pick up your phone, unlock it, open your Twitter and say, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not gonna take this anymore. Or whatever that is in French. That's what I would do if I was you. Question of the game. How on earth does Bergevin stay on as Habs GM for this rebuild? Do we even believe there's gonna be a rebuild? And hey, what'd you think of Matthews? And should Marner be given a chance with him? So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends that I am trying to hit 100,000 subscribers. And the Leafs are 6-0 in their last 6 games. Network. It came out in the 70s. It's a good movie.
Like smash!
Make sure you hit subscribe.
Like Spike.
Thanks, bros!
It's right there. It's down there, bro.
You know what? I liked it better when it was just me. You're right. Focus.
Smash that like button.